Shai, change your story, change your life, rewriting disempowering beliefs. There's a quiet story running in the background of your mind. You repeat it when you look in the mirror. You repeat it when someone doesn't text back. You repeat it when money feels tight, when you make a mistake, when you think about your future. Most of the time, you don't even hear it. You just feel its weight. It sounds like, this is just who I am. People like me don't get that far. I always screw it up eventually. I'm never the one who gets chosen. That story is not a random collection of thoughts. It's a script you've rehearsed for years, and that script is directing your life more than your goals, your to-do list, or your motivation. The beautiful, slightly uncomfortable truth is this. You are not stuck with the story you inherited. You can change the way you describe who you are and what's possible for you. And when you do, the way you want to live starts to change. This guide will walk you through how to do that. We'll explore what your life story actually is, how disempowering beliefs got wired into it, a process for exposing the script that's been running your life, how to consciously write a new story about who you are, daily practices that strengthen your new identity until it becomes your new normal. You don't need a perfect past. You need a new decision about the meaning of your past and a new identity to step into. 1. You don't live your life, you live your story about your life. Two people can face similar events, breakups, failures, losses, and come away with completely different conclusions. One tells themselves, that proves I'm not enough. The other tells themselves, that proves I'm stronger than I realized. Same type of pain, different wild story, different future. Your story is the ongoing explanation you give yourself about who you are, what kind of things happen to you, what you deserve, how the world works for someone like you. It sounds like, I'm the responsible one. I'm the black sheep. I'm the one who holds everyone together. I'm a survivor. I'm unlucky. I'm just average. You don't just have one story, you have many across different areas. Money, love, family, health, work, worth. But underneath, there's usually a core theme. I am not enough. I am alone. I am always behind. I am destined to struggle. I am the one who fixes, never the one who is cared for. That theme acts like a filter over everything you experience. An event happens, then, 1, you interpret it using your story. 2, your interpretation creates emotion. 3, that emotion drives your actions. 4, those actions create more experiences that confirm your story. It becomes a loop. Story, emotion, action, results, more story. If your story is, I'm always overlooked, then you'll notice every moment of being ignored. You'll downplay every moment of being seen. You'll pick partners, jobs, and friends who reinforce that narrative. You'll often stay silent even when you have something valuable to say. And the loop continues. To create a different future, you don't just fight circumstances. You update the unique story that tells you what those circumstances mean. Path 2. How disempowering stories get built. You were not born saying, I'm not enough or I always fail. You learned these ideas. They come from three main places. 1. Repeated messages from people you trusted. 2. Strong emotional events that shook you. 3. Cultural and social conditioning about people like you. 2.1 Repetition from authority figures. As a kid, you didn't evaluate your parents, teachers, and caretakers logically. You absorbed them. If you repeatedly heard, you're too sensitive, you're difficult, we can't afford things like that, you never do anything right, you're not as smart as your sibling, you didn't respond with a research paper, you responded with a conclusion. Something is wrong with me. Wanting things is selfish. I'm not good enough. I'm the problem. Those conclusions became my beliefs. Over time, those beliefs hardened into your story. 2.2 Emotional shock moments. Some moments hit like an internal earthquake. Being betrayed by someone you loved, getting bullied or humiliated, failing in front of people who matter to you, being told no to something you deeply wanted, being abandoned or suddenly rejected. The brain hates chaos. It tries to make meaning. This hurts so much. There must be a reason. Without guidance, it often chooses, "The reason is me. I'm not enough. I shouldn't expect better." So it adds a quiet line to your story. "When I open up, I get hurt. When I take risks, I get crushed. If I try, I fail. Better to numb out." You don't consciously remember making this decision, but you have lived through it. 2.3 Cultural and social messages. On top of your personal experiences, you're swimming in messages about what success should look like, how your body should look, what kind of jobs matter, who deserves money, love, safety, and attention. If you don't match the ideal images around you, your story might quietly become, "I'm not what people want. My dreams are unrealistic for someone like me. I should be grateful for scraps." Again, this becomes part of your identity, not because it's true, but because it's repeated, emotional, and rarely questioned. 2.4 Why your brain clings to a bad story. You might wonder, "If this story hurts me, why don't I just drop it?" Because your mind values certainty even more than it values happiness. A painful story can feel safer than a new one because it's familiar, it matches a lot of past experiences, it gives you an excuse not to risk anything new. Changing your story means stepping into the unknown, risking disappointment, admitting that some of what you believed about yourself was wrong. That's vulnerable. So your mind defends the old story by calling it realistic or the truth, even if it's just an outdated survival pattern. The moment you see that your story is what I learned, not destiny, you get some power back. 3. Finding the script you've been living. You can't change what you won't look at. This next part might feel uncomfortable, but it's also where the breakthrough begins. Grab a notebook or open a document and answer honestly. 3.1 Identify your current story in 3 areas. Write 3 headings: 1. Money and work. 2. Love and relationships. 3. Self worth and identity. Under each answer, what do I honestly believe is possible for me here? What do I tell myself when things go wrong in this area? If this part of my life had a movie title, what would it be? Examples: money and work. No matter what I do, I just get by. I'm not leadership material. Title: Always on the edge, never ahead. Love and relationships. I'm always the one who cares more. People leave once they see the real me. Title: The backup option. Self worth and identity. I'm too broken to really change. I'm the responsible one, not the special one. Title: The invisible helper. Don't sanitize it. Let the ugly thoughts out. They've been running your behavior whether you write them down or not. 3.2 Find the core theme. Now look over what you wrote and ask, what's the repeating pattern here? You might notice themes like, "I'm not enough," "I'm unwanted," "I'm always behind," "I'm unsafe," "I'm not meant for more." Write that theme in one sentence as if it were the title of your old story. The one who never measures up, always left behind. The one who survives, never thrives. Take a breath. You're not labeling your future. You're acknowledging the script that's been driving your past. And 3.3 Ask the crucial question: where did I learn this? For each theme, ask, whose voice does this sound like? What early experiences taught me this? If a child told me this about themselves, how would I respond? Often you'll realize you're repeating your parents' fears. You're still living by a conclusion you made at age 8. You're holding on to words spoken by someone who was wounded themselves. That realization doesn't magically erase pain, but it does something important. It separates Rakarsh you from the story. You can see the story as something you picked up, not something you are. And anything you picked up, you can put down. 4. The turning point: deciding on a new identity. A new life doesn't start with a different job, partner, or zip code. It starts with a different identity. A single internal decision can become a dividing line in your life. I am no longer available for this old story. From today on, I choose to become someone new. This isn't about pretending, it's about choosing a new direction for who you are. 4.1 Create a new story theme. Take your old theme and flip it into something powerful. If your old story was, I'm the one who gets overlooked, a new one might be, I am the one who chooses myself and is chosen by the right people. If your old story was, I'm always just surviving, a new one might be, I am the kind of person who grows, creates, and thrives step by step. If your old story was, I'm broken beyond repair, a new one might be, I am the kind of person who turns pain into strength and wisdom. Write it as, I am the kind of person who must. This is your new headline. Yeah, 4.2. Upgrade your standards. Your story shows up in what you tolerate. Tony often talks about standards. You don't get your shoulds, you get your musts. If your story is changing, your standards must change too. For each area, write, from now on, I will no longer tolerate. From now on, I will require. Examples, money and work. No longer tolerate. Jobs that disrespect my time and values. Require. Honest awareness of my finances and progress towards skills that increase my value. Love and relationships. No longer tolerate. Being treated like a backup option. Require. Mutual effort, basic respect, and emotional honesty. Self-worth. No longer tolerate. Calling myself names in my own head. Require. Speaking to myself at least as kindly as I would to a good friend. These standards are like the rules of your new story world. 5. The mechanics of rewriting beliefs. Beliefs don't vanish just because you decide to change. They're like grooves in a record deep from repetition. You reshape them through 1. Questioning. 2. New evidence. 3. Repetition with emotion. 4. Congruent action. 5.1 Step 1. Question your old beliefs. Take a core belief from your old story like, I always get left. I'm terrible with money. Nothing ever works out for me. Ask, is this absolutely true in every situation? Where did I learn this? If someone I loved believed this, would I nod and say, yep, you're right, or would I fight for them? You'll usually find it's not true 100% of the time. It came from specific people and moments, not destiny. You'd never want someone you love to hold on to it. That doesn't erase the feeling, but it cracks the certainty. 5.2 Step 2. Hunt for opposing evidence. Your mind likes to cherry pick proof for your story. Now you're going to deliberately cherry pick against it. If your belief is, I always get left, look for times people stayed, times you were respected, times relationships ended because you left what wasn't right. If your belief is, I'm terrible with money, look for times you made a smart financial choice, times you saved or paid something off. Examples of people who started where you are and learned to handle money well. Write them down. Even tiny examples count. You're showing your brain, this belief is not the whole truth. There's another story here. 5.3 Step 3. Install a more empowering belief. You're not jumping from I'm worthless to I am a flawless superhero. You're choosing a belief that is more empowering, still believable enough to practice examples. Old, I always get left. New, I used to chase people who couldn't fully choose me. Now I'm learning to choose differently and become someone who is happily matched. Old, I'm terrible with money. New, I've made mistakes, but I can learn money skills. Every step I take is making me more capable. Old, nothing works out for me. New, not everything has worked out before, but there have been wins, and I can create more by learning and growing. Then you repeat these new beliefs with emotion. Stand tall. Speak them out loud. Visualize yourself living them. This is how you teach your nervous system. This is our new identity. Get familiar with it. 6. Language and questions, your daily story tools. Your story is built out of the language you use, the questions you ask. Change these, and your story shifts. 6.1 Language, tiny shifts, huge impact. Compare, I'm a mess, versus I'm in a messy season and I'm learning. This is a disaster, versus this is really hard, but it's a turning point. I can't take this anymore. versus this is my limit, I need to make a change. Small language shifts change the emotional temperature of your life. Try updating common phrases. I have to. I get to. I have to go to work. I get to go to work and build my future. I'm stuck. I haven't found the way forward yet. I'll never. I haven't yet, but I'm working on it. You're not lying to yourself. You're refusing to use words that lock you in a cage. 6.2 Better questions, better story. Old story questions. Why does this always happen to me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I be like them? New story questions. What can I learn from this that makes me stronger? How can I respond in a way I'll be proud of? What's one powerful step I can take today? If I were living my new story, what would I do next? Your brain has to answer whatever questions you give it. Feed it better ones, and your story naturally starts to lift. Write 3 go-to questions and keep them where you'll see them: on your mirror, in your phone notes, on your desk. Every time your old story flares up, pull out one of these questions and actually answer it. After 7, story transformations in real life. Let's look at a few narrative style transformations to see how this works in practice. 7.1 Lena, from I'm the problem to I deserve real respect. Old story. Lena grew up in a household where she was often blamed. Why are you so dramatic? You're making things difficult. If you weren't so sensitive, everything would be fine. She carried that into adulthood. Anytime there was conflict, she assumed, I must be the problem. So she over-apologized, accepted poor treatment in relationships, kept quiet about her needs, walked on eggshells around everyone. Turning point. After yet another relationship where her feelings were dismissed, she noticed her inner voice saying, of course, this is what I attract. I'm too much. For the first time, instead of agreeing, she asked, where did I learn that being too much is a bad thing? And why am I always the one bending? She realized her story came from wounded people who didn't know how to handle emotions, including their own. New story decision. I am the kind of person who is worthy of respect and emotional honesty. New standards. No longer tolerate being mocked or dismissed when she speaks her truth. Require basic respect and openness from anyone who wants a close spot in her life. New language. Old, I'm the problem. New, I'm not perfect, but I deserve to be heard and treated with respect. New questions. What would I do right now if I believed my feelings mattered? How would I respond if I knew I was worthy of real love? New actions. She started calmly saying, that doesn't feel okay to me, instead of swallowing it. She walked away from a relationship that only worked when she ignored her own needs. She chose friendships with people who listened instead of talked over her. At first it was scary. The old story screamed, you're selfish, you're making a big deal out of nothing. But over time, something else grew louder. I deserve to feel safe with the people closest to me. Her outer life changed, but the deepest change was internal. She stopped treating herself as the problem and started treating herself as a person worth standing up for. 7.2 Jason, from I'll always be broke to I'm building stability. Old story. Jason grew up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees. We're not that kind of family. People like us just do what we have to do. He internalized, I'm the kind of person who scrapes by. As an adult, he avoided learning about money, never asked for raises, felt suspicious of people who were financially successful. Turning point. One day, overwhelmed by bills, he caught himself thinking, of course this is happening. I'll always be broke. It's just my fate. He paused and asked, is that really fate, or is that just a story I never questioned? He could think of a friend with a similar background who had improved their finances over time. That alone proved his belief wasn't absolute. New story decision. I am the kind of person who can learn, grow, and build stability. New standards. No longer tolerate closing his eyes to bills and finances. require knowing what's coming in, what's going out, and taking one small step each week to improve. New language. Old. I'm terrible with money. New. I'm learning to handle money better. Every small step counts. New questions. What's one thing I can do this week to be more in control? What skill could I learn that would make me more valuable? New actions. He started spending 15 minutes every Sunday reviewing his accounts. No judgment, just clarity. He watched one video or took one mini course per week on a money or skill topic. He asked his boss what he'd need to do to qualify for a raise in the next year. He didn't become rich overnight, but his story shifted from, I'm doomed to I'm building. That shift made him feel less ashamed and more responsible. He started making decisions from a place of power instead of panic. Enter 8. Living your new story. Daily practices. A new story isn't a single pep talk, it's a key practice. Here are some simple ways to embody it. 8.1 Morning Identity Ritual. Before you check your phone, 1. Sit or stand tall. Breathe deeply 3 times. 2. Put a hand on your chest. 3. Say your new story sentence out loud. I am the kind of person who, Hansi. 4. Visualize yourself going through the day as that person. How do you walk? How do you talk? How do you respond to stress? You don't need a 30-minute routine. 2 or 3 minutes done consistently can shift how you feel about yourself. 8.2 Story interrupts during the day. When something goes wrong and you feel your old script kicking in, that familiar sting of rejection, the I knew I'd mess up voice, the urge to shrink or apologize for existing, do this. 1. Notice it. Ah, that's my old story trying to take over. 2. Pause and breathe. 3. Ask. If my new story were true, how would I see this moment? How would I respond if I believed I was the person I'm becoming? 4. Take one small action that matches your new identity. Speak up a little more. Be 5% more honest. Set one boundary. Take one step instead of freezing. Over time, these small choices add up. 8.3 Evening Rewrite. Before bed, 1. Write down 2-3 moments where you lived your Aldo story. 2. Then rewrite each moment as if you had responded from your new story. Example. Real. When they brushed off my idea, I shut down and assumed I was stupid. Rewrite. New me would think, my ideas matter. I would say, I'd like to finish my thought or share the idea later with someone supportive. This isn't fantasy, it's rehearsal. You're giving your mind a new script to use. Next time, something similar happens. 9. You will slip back. That's part of the process. You're going to have days when the old story is loud and convincing, moments where you react in old ways, times when you hear yourself saying words you thought you were done with. This doesn't mean you're failing. Nothing is changing. This new story is fake. It means you're human. When you slip, 1. Acknowledge it without beating yourself up. That choice came from my old story. 2. Extract the lesson. What would my new identity have done instead? 3. Recommit. I'm still becoming this new version of me. I'm not giving up because of one old reaction. Identity change isn't clean and linear. It's messy and repetitive, and that's okay. 10. You are the author. Up until now, it may have felt like your life was being written for you. By your childhood, by your parents, by your past partners, by your mistakes. But there is a line you can draw inside yourself today. Everything before this moment is the setup. From here on out, I participate in how this story is told. You cannot erase what has happened. You can redefine what it means and who it turns you into. You can say, those chapters were not proof that I'm broken. They are proof that I'm still here. Those rejections were not the verdict on my worth. They were part of how I learned to choose better. Those struggles were not proof I'm destined to suffer. They were training for who I'm becoming. So ask yourself now, what is the old story I am done repeating? Who am I choosing to be instead? What is one decision I can make? Today, so that belongs to my new story, not my old one. Write it down, say it out loud. Take one step that matches it. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't have to wait for everyone to approve. You can begin in the middle of the mess, right where you are. Because your future is not just shaped by what happens to you, it's shaped by the story you decide to live from now on and the person you dare to become next.